Are you going hiking this summer? Are you looking into buying a new pair of trail running shoes for your hikes? So today we're going to take a look at these two guys, this from New Balance and this from Saucony. These come from Boston. That's a blast for me. This is the Xodus 10 and this is the Xodus 11. I've got a lot of experience hiking in these two shoes. I've done a lot of through hikes on them. I took this to Scotland to my last adventure over there, and we really had very bad weather and we went through really terrible terrain, just as bad as I know in Scotland, but this time around I have the perception that it lasted for longer. So basically I would say I fully tested them other than for durability. So when it comes to durability, I have no clue how this will hold. I'm going to first speak about the similarities of these two models, and only then I will tell you about their differences. Both models feel very comfortable even when through hiking. I've done up to 30 kilometers per day on the New Balance, and then I did, I think, 53 on the Xodus 10. I did 50 on the Xodus 11, so they're pretty much the same shoe anyway. Both models are roomy, both the New Balance and the Sauconys. They're roomy. They both offer pretty much good grip in all terrains, but I'll tell you the specifics later on. They both have a 4mm drop. When it comes to weight, on my kitchen scale, the Saucony was around 365 grams, whereas the New Balance were 325. I would say that's a significant difference, but go figure. Let's just put them together so that you have a feeling more or less. It's the same size, 9 UK, and you can get an idea of how they look when they're together. Let me quickly tell you the differences I found between the 11 and the 10 iteration of the shoe. So I think it pretty much boils down to the material they use here and also the mesh for ventilation. That this feels more modern and the ventilation is a little bit more efficient than here. All in all, to be honest, they're pretty much the same shoe. When it comes to the Saucony 11, one of the things I like compared to the New Balance is that it has more vertical toe room, because both of the shoes are quite roomy in general and also vertical. But in the Saucony version, there's a little bit more room for your toes here. If you move your toes up, you will find more room here. The Sauconys are bad, pretty bad when it comes to wet grass and mud. And by the way, I fell twice. Like incredible, right? Twice. Very silly falls, but twice. It's all because my running shoes, they are miserable, man, when it comes to mud, and it was muddy today. Like a muddy hell, and feels like an older design in general, kind of more like old school running shoes. They take much longer to dry than the New Balance model. The Sauconys have less cushioning than the New Balance and it's also firmer. So if you prefer a firmer feeling, then for sure the Sauconys are going to be your choice. These lasted 800 kilometers. I have to say I really had a rough hike on them, and they would have lasted way more, because the shoe is pretty much in very decent shape in general. But over here, they're totally broken. And this is because a couple of the days I was really post-holing real bad, trust me, on the Norcal leather. If I just get out of this snow, I've been post-holing past my knees, man. Like sometimes to my hips, post-holing, dragging myself. And now we're going to take a look at the New Balance. I think it's a pretty awesome trail running shoe. The main difference I would say is this vertical toe room, so to call it. Even though the toe box is roomy in general, but the space you have here, if you move up your toe, it's just slightly more limited here than in the Saucony model. The cushioning here is Plushier. This is more comfortable. You feel the cushioning more, like a little bit more bouncing than in the Saucony model, and there is more to it as well. So everything together, this is a more like plushy walking on pillows experience. They dry significantly faster than the Sauconys. like so much faster. They offer better grip on wet grass and they're not as bad in mud as the Sauconys. And the design of these shoes is certainly more modern than the Sauconys. Like you feel it in the materials here on the back, the way here on the tongue as well. This is a much thinner tongue than the Sauconys. The Sauconys have a more sort of cushioning on the tongue. This is more like an old school tongue, whereas this is more like a modern tongue. It just feels very different. I really like this. This, you could argue, is more minimalistic when it comes to the fluffiness, so to say. Both shoes are fantastic and they share more similarities than differences. To be honest, I would just pick the cheapest one I could find, period. I hope you found this video helpful and see you on the trails. Bye!